Introducing the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya live stream and live chat. Do you have a question from any of the following areas? Land survey, valuation, building survey, land administration, engineering survey, estate agency, property management, and geospatial information management. Join the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya live stream and live chat every Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to the program this Friday. We are on the ISK Facebook live chat. It happens between 2 and 4 p.m. on Fridays. And today, 4th September, the year 2020, we have a new topic. And the topic is enhancing green building technology in Kenya. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Margaret Obonyo Motiri. I am a building surveyor, and I'm a member of ISK, the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, Building Surveyors Chapter. I have been a building surveyor for more than 30 years, and that is my passion. What is a building surveyor? A building surveyor is one of the professionals under the chapters of ISK, that's Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, and we are the professionals you will need even at the design stage when your building or house is being designed. We will be sitting next to the designers to give feedback on performance of material choice and design. We are the people who will take over your building when it is completed, and will now be doing the maintenance, overseeing, babysitting of these buildings. But I don't want to go so much into that, because now there are questions that some members of the profession as well as members of the public have put forward for me to try and answer, and I will do it to the best of my ability. Let me give a brief introduction, a definition of what green building technology is all about. The traditional building, as we know it, is that which has used the design and materials without considering what impact it will do. It will bring on the environment, the health of the occupants in general. Now, green building technology is one whose design and choice of material will go a long way in protecting the environment. We've all heard about global warming. Why do we have global warming? It's because we did not go green. To give an example of a green building will protect its occupants by providing healthy air circulation, by conserving water usage. For example, if you have a pitched roof, what will you do with the water that runs off on the roof? When it rains, you will put gutters around your roof so that you can harvest rainwater. That's an example of green technology. In green technology, you will orientate your building, place it in such a way that it takes greatest advantage of the position of the sun, so that when the sun is at its highest, the building is warm. It will also allow you to place solar panels on your roof so that you can use solar heating to heat water instead of using electricity. It goes a long way in saving costs, electricity costs, and many others. Now, there are other questions that viewers and other members of the public have put forward. Somebody wanted me to give a brief history of green building technology in Kenya. Green building technology has not, it's not really, let's say it's a young concept in Kenya, and it doesn't go back beyond 5 years. But some private developers have taken the initiative of introducing green technology in their buildings. For example, the developers of malls have tried to take advantage of lighting. We live in the tropics, and we have long daylight hours. Now, if you have a mall, and I can give you one, I think most of us know Capital Center on Mombasa Road. If you look at its atrium, the whole of the roof, the middle section, has got glass. And you can have as much daylight hours as you can before you put on the lights, because the sun comes through the glass dome. There is another building on Ngong Road. In fact, it's named the Green Building. It's one of the few buildings that we have in the country, especially in Nairobi, which have tried to minimize the use of either mechanical ventilation or artificial lighting. To turn a building green, you will either have to design it green from the drawing board, or you try and change it from traditional to green, but I'll come to that later on. Now, there is another question. Somebody wants to know how it has been applied by the government of Kenya and the private sector. About 5 years ago, the government encouraged or gave out directives for the owners of all owners of public buildings, commercial buildings and malls, to reduce their carbon footprint in terms of how much power they could reduce. The challenge here was buildings were already in place, and if you wanted to make changes, you probably wanted to bring in a surveyor, to bring in an auditor to audit your power consumption. That's when we saw building owners start using LED bulbs and tube lighting as opposed to the traditional tungsten bulbs. Even those who are using energy-saving lights now changed into LED. And after some time, we saw a reduction of power consumption, power bills by as much as 30%. The residential sector was also encouraged to do that. The government is making plans, from what I have learned, the government is making plans to give incentives to building owners so that at least we can have the percentage of owners willing to embrace the green building technology to increase. Because not only in this sector, but whenever something new comes up, unless there are incentives, it's difficult for people to embrace a new way of doing things, because they have to first know what it is in it for them. If building owners and property managers are going to be able to save on electricity, to save on water bills, say by installing underground water tanks to collect rainwater and even to prevent runoff, then we are going to see an increase in embracing of green building technology. Another question that has just come in is what are the challenges of the technology that Kenyans are facing? The main challenge is to get people, to get building owners and Kenyans in general to understand the benefits that are in there for them. If you are the owner of a commercial property, you are looking at the cost of service charge. If you are going to be able to reduce your power bills, then service charge costs are going to go down, they'll be lower. It will make your building more attractive. It will enhance retention of tenants, and your bank balance will be healthy. Where you have clean air circulation in a building, you will have healthy building occupants. And if you are an employer and you find that your employees are healthy, so it means that you will not be having people taking sick offs, and as a result, you will find that production is good. The loss of man hours is reduced. Yeah, as I said, the loss of man hours is reduced and production goes up. Now, if you harvest rainwater, that rainwater can be recycled. It will be used to irrigate gardens outside, can be used to flush toilets. And to make it even better, if you have a water recycling plant, you will be using the same water over and over again. An example of this is the village market, which started embracing this little bit of green technology, green building technology, a few years ago. Once Kenyans are educated on that, we'll see the benefits. We'll have a better environment, and if everybody else did it across the globe, then we'll start feeling more confident about our ability to reduce global warming. There is another question that has come in. A viewer wants to know what policies and regulatory framework the government has put in place. At this moment, I can only say that it's through initiative, personal initiative. And as I mentioned earlier, I've already mentioned it, the government is trying to work on incentives, but they are not on the table yet. The incentives are not on the table yet, but private developers are beginning to experience the benefits of embracing green building technology. Now, I have worked in the private sector for a number of years where I did a lot of property management. And if you have, as a property manager, if you have a tenant, if you have an international company as a tenant, especially if it is a company that comes from the USA, South Africa, they will want to bring in their lead certification expert to see how much, to gauge how much the landlord or the property owner has done in embracing this technology. They will want to see how much natural lighting you have in your building, whether you have enough glass, and this glass will only be beneficial if it is insulated, because there is a way you can have a lot of glass and then you create a greenhouse effect in your building. Let's have the glass, but let's also have it insulated so that when the sun is very hot in the afternoon, the building is cool. Now, if you have enough natural light, as I've mentioned before, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, if you have enough natural light, then you will not need to put on your lights during the day. There is one building I'll mention in the city center, which sadly when the new occupants, it's one of those buildings where you have one tenant in the building, the tenant decided to seal all the windows. They had their reasons, but they sealed all the windows, and now they have mechanical ventilation. And I'm wondering what happens when the power fails. Of course, they will have a generator standby, but on the off chance that the generator also fails to peak, you can imagine what will happen. So, in my opinion, that is going backwards instead of going forward. Let's hope once the members of the public and stakeholders are properly educated on green building technology, a tenant like that one will now restore things to what they were before. Okay, somebody else is asking the same question, but since every viewer has the right to know, even if the question has already been asked, I will answer it again. Somebody also wants to know how green building technology will benefit Kenya. The benefits, viewers, forgive me if I'm repeating myself. Again, the benefits are healthy users, lowering costs of maintaining or managing buildings, saving on water, that is increasing efficiency in the use of water. Like I said earlier, if you capture rainwater and have, for example, underground tanks, there's no, okay, if you put a tank on the ground, it will take up space. But if you put it underground, then you still have the space on the ground to put to other use. I've talked about water efficiency, rainwater harvested to flush toilets instead of using water from the mains. You can use the same water to irrigate gardens outside. I've also talked about the health benefits that come from natural lighting, so that you don't have to recycle the air in a room. If you have proper ventilation, especially cross ventilation, air in, air out, so you are all the time breathing fresh air. Another benefit of green technology is in the use of renewable energy. I wish we had as many windmills as we could, but Kenya is a country blessed with a lot of mountains. So as you move away from the city of Nairobi and you go east, you go north, the mountains, the number of mountains reduces. Now once you get into Turkana, that is the best place for us to have windmills, can have wind energy. I know it's expensive. The initial cost is high, but after time, the benefits will be realized. If instead of using electric power from via the traditional methods, you have wind power, you have solar energy, Kenya is blessed with a lot of sunlight. If the government could, and I know it will, if it would come to the front and lead from the front and encourage Kenyans to embrace this technology, then within a few years, you'll find a lot of people using renewable energy instead of using traditional methods. So we all know that the fossil fuels that we thought were never going to get finished are dwindling. And one day we'll have no coal to dig up from the ground. Petroleum which has been our main source of fuel. The petroleum, the oil that is in the ground is eventually going to get finished. We'll no longer have it, and we'll be asking ourselves why we never embraced the green technology. So let's look into the future. Let's not just look at our lives now. We have to do something for posterity. If you want to build a house, first, just like when I'm giving an example that I am most familiar with. If you want to knit a sweater, you start right. The first stitch has got to be right. If you start it the wrong way, it means you have to either undo the whole thing or start making changes which will not be very good for the design. In the same way, if you are building, if you want to build, you get an architect to design, but before you do, you need to explain to the architect what you want. And here it's on the assumption that you have now understood what green building technology is all about. So your input will be useful, because now you can give ideas to your designer on what you want to do. If you do not have the time for that, the building surveyor, as the professional to whom the building or the house is handed over to take care of, will be able to give you or your architect feedback on performance of choice of materials and design. For example, if you want to put up a light roof, you could be thinking of using, for roof members, you'll be thinking of using steel or timber. I would go for timber because timber is light. Okay, because timber is light, and you would want to use reusable materials. If, for example, you were to demolish that house, you want to be able to use the materials to build something else. And then you will want to make sure that the orientation of the house makes maximum use of cooling and heating. If the sun if the sun rises on one side of your building, you want to be able to take full advantage of the position of the sun in terms of whether you want to put solar panels on your roof so that you reduce your power bills. There isn't much information around because, as I said earlier, green building technology has not really caught on in Kenya. We need a lot of education. There's some information that has been posted on the internet, but it's very scanty. It's very scanty, but we have enough professionals who have experienced the benefits of building technology. And if you contact ISK has got those professionals. ISK will be able to guide you to the right professional to help you with that. Anything else you want to know, Sam?
So in terms of the legislation, you can't say like now the green building technology has been kind of evolved, so like in the county level or county level. So does it mean this is from the board, the section of green building technology? Is it from the board that is building a registration or is it from the government? Which organ is powering this technology?
Okay, the technology has been borrowed, say, from seeing what other countries are doing. Like in the US, buildings are awarded points on how much the developer has done to make the building as comfortable as possible to its users in terms of control in temperature, use of water, conservation of energy in general, and its impact on the environment. If we can save the environment by embracing green building technology, we'll be saving ourselves, we'll also be saving the world. So I cannot say that there is really any regulation. Like in Kenya, we don't have any regulation. What the government will start doing is encourage Kenyans, especially the professionals in the built environment, to embrace green building technology. But I personally feel that it should be regulated. Yeah. When something is regulated, then people take notice. And they start doing the right thing. For example, what I mentioned earlier about the government through the former Energy Regulation Authority, asking, requiring, actually directing building owners to start reducing their power consumption in their buildings. And a lot of buildings started doing that. I worked in commercial management, property management, and I saw a lot of that happening. But it was mainly, what the government did was mainly in reduction of power bills. And every building owner was asked to employ the services of an auditor, an energy auditor. So energy audits were done, and we don't have many energy auditors in this country. That's an area that needs to be developed. They brought in their reports, and building owners, property managers had to forward those reports to the Energy Regulatory Commission. That is as far as it went. But more work needs to be done by the government so that at least the net will be widened. Just in the same way the government does it with the taxes, widening the base. I should think so. But it shouldn't be just giving points. No. There has to be something in it for the building owner. Say, for example, in giving rebates, maybe next time you're paying your land rent or local government rates, if you can prove that you have helped the country save in power, because you say, I don't even believe we have enough power on the grid. If you can save the power, it's like putting the power back on the grid. Then if you can get a few rebates, you will be encouraged. That's an incentive. Yeah. Or maybe you get a rebate on your bills, maybe going to taxes, paying land rent and local government rates could be maybe stretching the imagination too far. But if you can have that on your power bill, it will be something to think about. Then even residential property owners will do it. In fact, I know, to give my house as an example, I changed some years back, I changed from ordinary tungsten bulbs to energy saving bulbs, and now to LED bulbs, which can, in fact, you can go a whole year or 1.5 years without buying a new bulb. That means you've saved in the cost of bulbs. I know they are more expensive, but they last very long. And the power bills did go down. They did. That's already an incentive, although it takes a bit of time. It takes a bit of time to experience it or even realize, whoops, actually that was an incentive. So you've been encouraged to save money. Okay. In the built environment, we have many professionals. ISK has got, let's say, the most informed professionals in terms of what to do with land, what to do with buildings. After the building has been designed, we have it. We have the building. Now, ISK is one place, is one organization that can educate the public a lot. We'll be educated on value. ISK will educate you on value. It will educate you on land. Value of land and buildings, value of, value of even what is underneath the ground. But now, as a building surveyor, the building surveyor will educate you extensively on how you can preserve your investment and improve the figure at the bottom of the page in your accounts. The building surveyor will teach, will educate on how to optimally use service charge, especially in commercial buildings. The building surveyor will teach you how. When I say teach, maybe some viewers may not take it kindly, but the building surveyor will offer and give information on how you can reduce your power bills, how you can use water efficiently. In fact, even in power bills, the building surveyor will recommend that you use sensors, light sensors, so that, like in common washrooms, in commercial buildings, instead of leaving the lights on, when it's not your personal responsibility, sometimes you're not bothered with, switching off the light once you're done. So if sensors are installed in common washrooms, so that the lights come on only when you open the door, you are already beginning to lower your power bills. If you have sensor taps, so that people don't forget to turn off the tap when they are finished washing their hands. The tap comes on only when you put your hand under the tap. You wash your hands and you're done. Some of these things may look simple, but the quantum effect will be unimaginable. Just like we say, maintenance begins at home. We'll teach our small children to turn off the lights each time they leave a room. Do not put on lights during the day. Just open the curtains and natural light will come in. Okay? I don't know what more I can tell you. Maybe next time we'll have a lot of time. We can have another session where you can send in as many questions, especially the ones that I have not answered. Building surveying is a very broad subject. It's a very, very broad subject because we have not even talked about facilities maintenance. Maybe that's a topic we can, I can ask ISK to prepare that topic, and then either I or maybe one of my colleagues will come and talk about it because it's very wide. In conclusion, I would say that we should have embraced building technology like yesterday. It is something we should have been doing from the beginning. If everybody had done this, had embraced green building technology, maybe we wouldn't be where we are. We would not be now having global conferences on how to save the world, the earth. Global warming is something maybe we wouldn't even know about because we would have done things right from the beginning. So, if there are no more questions, thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed the session. We'll see you next time.
Introducing the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya live stream and live chat. Do you have a question from any of the following areas? Land survey, valuation, building survey, land administration, engineering survey, estate agency, property management, and geospatial information management. Join the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya live stream and live chat every Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.